It was the first time she'd been close enough to notice their color. She also noticed that she had to look up to meet them. He'd gotten taller over the summer. Something shifted between them. His gaze dropped to her nose, then her lips, then lower. She suddenly realized her dress was still damp and inappropriate for mixed company. He was a boy, becoming a man. She crossed her arms over her chest. "What's wrong with you?" He shook his head. "I don't know." Now his voice was deep and rumbly, which rattled her even more. "Well, go home. Back to the house. Just leave me alone." "I can't leave you here by yourself. It's not safe." He had that right. She did not feel safe at all. Not that he would actually hurt her. He might scare her half to death, but he would never lay a hand on her in anger. When she thought of Schuyler, laughter came to mind. "I'm sorry I hit you," she blurted. "I deserved it." He sighed. "Sometimes I do things without thinking about the other person's feelings. I know how much you hate frogs." She blinked. "How did you know that?" "Selah told Camilla a long time ago. They were laughing about it. I thought it was funny, too." Selah was Joelle's older sister. Camilla was Schuyler's, and they were best friends. "It's not funny," she said. "I have nightmares." "Listen." He tilted his head for a moment, holding her eyes. The noises of the woods took over, birds twittering, a breeze rustling the leaves, and underneath it, a harsh, monotonous cheeping sound. She started to speak, but Schuyler held up a hand and walked over to a tree. He scooped something off a limb onto his palm, cupped the other hand over it, and came back to Joelle. "Look," he said, showing her what looked at first like a large green bug. Then it moved and spread out, tiny fingers clinging to Schuyler's big bony hand, throat pulsing. It was a tree frog. "See? Not scary at all." Joelle stared, fascinated. "That's not what you put on my head." "No, but it was his big, clumsy cousin." He grinned at her. "Kinda like me." He had pretty teeth, too big for his face, but white and even in his sun-browned, ruddy face. Something about his smile moved her, scared her. "I've got to go. Selah will be looking for me." "Let me walk you back." He deposited the tree frog on its limb and returned, wiping his hands on the seat of his pants. They walked through the woods together in awkward silence, occasionally bumping elbows. They hadn't gone very far before Joelle was limping. Schuyler halted to look down at her with a frown. "Where are your shoes?" "In the bathhouse." "Of all the—" He gave a grunt as if taxed beyond endurance, and suddenly bent to put his shoulder against her middle, then stood, with her flopped over his shoulder like a sack of meal. "Schuyler, put me down!" She elbowed his shoulder blade. He kept walking. "I'm not going to take you home with bleeding feet and hands." Within a few yards he was huffing and puffing. "You're heavier than you look," he observed with clear irritation. "Over 100 pounds, I'd say." "I told you to put me down. We can go slowly." The blood was rushing to her head. That was why she felt so flustered, with his arm hooked over the back of her legs and her chin bobbing against his back. She didn't know what to do with her hands. He slowed and stopped. Letting her slide downward, he kept his arms around her, halting her when her toes just touched the ground, which was a good thing because she didn't think her knees would have supported her. She'd never stood this close to any male except her father, who wasn't much of a hugger. Schuyler was tall and whiplash thin, smelling of something alien that she could only describe as fresh boy. His chin and upper lip, right in front of her eyes, bore a fine blonde layer of hair that might have been called a beard, and his cheeks had begun to hollow, defining his jawline.